WrestleBuddy Podcast. All about wrestling. Subscribe and follow for more content.
Welcome, WrestleBuddies, to our predictions for Extreme Rules. We're going to discuss all the Extreme Rules matches and what we think the outcomes are going to be. I am joined by WrestleBuddies little shit. Zane, how are we doing today, buddy?
Doing fine. I hope to be doing better soon. But just everything's going smooth.
Oh, brilliant, good stuff. And Jimmy Bebe, the Wrestling Buddies Bebe, how are we doing, mate?
Fantastic. I'm ready to get this show going, baby.
And we've got the Cupid's back holding service. Harold, how are we doing, mate?
Good to be back in church, brother.
Right, guys, let's jump straight back here. Let's jump straight into this card then. It's, first thing I want to say about this card is, just before we do go into predictions, is an Extreme Rules pay-per-view with one Extreme Rules match is a bit, yeah, okay. But I don't know, I suppose it is what it is. It's WWE, but in sports entertainment after all, so it is what it is. I would have liked to have seen a few more Extreme Rules matches, especially maybe, I think, Becky Lynch's versus Bianca Belair would have been a good one to have as an Extreme Rules match. But let's get into it. Oh, sorry, go on, Steve.
Yeah, I was saying, do you think they're going to add a few on the day of Extreme Rules?
Yeah.
Like, just add a few stipulations.
I could see them just before the show starts just saying, yeah, all these are Extreme Rules matches.
Yeah.
Okay, though, well, we'll start off with Bianca versus Becky. I think it's a good place to start. I'm just not liking Becky Lynch as a heel. I think it's just really... I feel like she's trying too hard. I think she's tried the McGregor angle. She's tried Seth Rollins' angle a little bit as well. But it's just not sitting right for me. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I was disappointed with the heel turn because I'm a big Becky fan. I'm not really sure why they gave her the green light to come back as a heel. It doesn't make sense to turn your biggest star into a heel. Hopefully after this draft, things get changed up and she goes back to doing what she was doing before.
Yeah. Okay, and as for this match, I see Becky Lynch retaining because I see Bianca Belair going to Raw on the draft next week. I feel like she, for me, there's a match there. There's a hell of a match there for her and Charlotte. I think also Charlotte, after she's dealt with Bliss, has not really got many credible opponents left over on Raw, or credible threats, should we say. And I feel like, the two of them being really big, strong women, they could put on probably the best match that we've seen in the women's division. What's your thoughts on that, team?
Yeah, I feel like Raw really needs a strong women's competitor right now. Because Charlotte's probably had feuds with everyone there right now. And Bianca versus Charlotte is going to be a fresh and a really good feud that I'd be looking forward to see. Well, I was also looking forward to see Becky versus Bianca, but the route they took with it, and I'm really not interested for their match at Extreme Rules. But I'm interested for the match itself, but the story isn't captivating.
No, and it'd be interesting to see whether they keep on going with this heel Becky Lynch after the Bianca deal's done. Obviously, with the draft coming up, WWE are renowned for kind of restarting again as though nothing's happened with certain things after the draft. So we could see Becky Lynch go back to being a face on this one, or Liv Morgan maybe it'd be a good match for her going forward to kind of keep that underdog story going against the man, as it were. In the thing. What do you think on that, Harold?
I'm still not understanding the Becky Lynch turn, if you want to call it that, because like I stated this earlier, she's too good to be a heel anyway. Why didn't they have Bianca Belair turn heel? Get Bianca Belair to turn.
So I'm going to go for Becky Lynch in this match. I think like she gets the win to keep the title. I feel like just WWE seem to feel like that's necessary at the moment. Jimmy, what's your thoughts?
I'm going to actually go Bianca on this. I think Bianca's staying put in SmackDown, and she's going to continue to be the face. They just need to get her some new opponents over there because they don't really have any.
Harold?
I actually have to agree with Jimmy on this one. Okay. I'm going to go with Bianca Belair.
Okay, no. Well, it could be Bianca, and then they could move Becky and Seth over to Raw. I mean, I always said that. Remember before she made the return, I said I felt like she was going to come back on SmackDown. And my reasoning behind that was because obviously with the two of them being new parents, they'd want to make sure they've got the same time at home to bond with the child and whatnot. So I don't see that changing. If they do move them, I see them both going over to Raw. I feel like Edge will get left out of the draft because he kind of just pops in, so they can still continue with that story with Seth and everything. So it's a credible option. Okay, so we'll move on to our next match. We've got Damian Priest, champion, US champion, versus Jeff Hardy and Sheamus in a triple threat match. Really like the whole Sheamus, Damian Priest saga that we've had so far. And I did say after Damian Priest won the match, I wasn't mad that they were continuing this story. Throw Jeff Hardy in the mix is a little bit confusing to me of the reason why he's being put in this match. I'm not mad at the fact because obviously he could be there to take the pin or whatever. Or it could be a way to get the title off Priest if they're looking to move him to SmackDown and freshen up a little bit. What's your thoughts on that, saying?
I feel like throwing Jeff Hardy into the mix was a good decision because the other options they have is run Damian Priest and Sheamus back again. So if you look at the Raw roster right now and you need a credible opponent to have a three-way, let's say they didn't want to run Sheamus and Priest back again, but also want to have a good match with someone credible on the roster, I feel like Jeff Hardy isn't on the top names in that one. You have Garza, Humberto, you have other guys, but while they're busy in the tag team division, Jeff Hardy could be a nice little addition to the match, and he can still go. We saw with his match against Damian Priest a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. I have no issues with Jeff Hardy being here.
No, I don't have no issues. But to be honest, I wouldn't have had issues if they would have run back Sheamus versus Damian again. What's your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
I think Jeff Hardy was added to this for the simple fact that fans were not happy with what happened a few weeks ago. So I feel like they just did this to be like, all right, well, hey, we still respect him. Throw him in the match. He'll eat the pinfall. Hopefully that won't lead to another Sheamus Priest match down the road. Just because I feel like it hasn't run its course yet, but it's in danger of going too long after Extreme Rules. I would have preferred just to see Sheamus and Priest have a one-on-one just street fight, though. I think that would have been a much better option to go with.
And we did see that, Priest, I think WWE do see him as a main event star in the future, or certainly challenging up in the upper echelons of the card, as we've seen when they put him with Bobby Lashley earlier on. Do you see any way that Jeff Hardy wins this and takes the title, Harold?
Yes, I do, actually, because it would be a bit of a change up from what's going on now. So if he has held World Heavyweight Championships. I mean, why not? This is probably his last contract, so send him off with a nice little thank you for your work. Fuck you now, but give him the title for a while. Let him say goodbye.
Okay, well, I'm going to start this off with the prediction on this. I see Jeff Hardy winning this. Simple reason is I feel like SmackDown's getting a bit stale in the middle card, and also they need some people to feed to Roman. And I feel like Damian Priest could be that guy. So I see him losing the title because they want to move him over to SmackDown. So I'm going to go with Jeff Hardy. Zane, what's your prediction?
Well, I can definitely see Jeff Hardy winning because even if they don't move Priest to SmackDown, you'll have new contenders for Big E. Because I'd love to see Big E versus Damian Priest. But I feel like Priest is gonna hang on to the US title for a bit longer. They're gonna have him drop it before Rumble, I think, because Priest is one of my early contenders to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay, Jimmy?
I'm gonna go Sheamus. I think Priest is definitely getting moved. I think adding Jeff Hardy to it gives them the option to take the belt off of him and move him. Doesn't kill any credibility for him because he still hasn't eaten a pinfall. The Damian Priest versus Roman Reigns thing, I think, is very interesting. I think it would be good for both of them. It gives Roman a fresh face, and it shows that they have faith in Damian Priest moving forward. So, yeah, I like that.
Do you not think with Jeff Hardy, though, you've got somebody who's well-known in the wrestling, they're real credible from name and face, and, kind of a bit of a buzz because it's a Cinderella story because the fans love him and stuff like that, and WWE might just look at it as a bit of a shock value and a bit of fun. maybe not keep the title on them too long, but just, they've done this in the past, haven't they?
I think they have. I would think that in my way of thinking, if they were going to put the title on him, they would have had him get some wins, just at least 2 wins in the past month to kind of validate it, instead of just having like a roll up victory on Sheamus and then now you're in the match.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me to see him get it, but logically speaking, I don't like the idea of it.
Harold, what's your thoughts on this match? Who do you think?
Jeff Hardy.
Okie doke. Right, so we're going to move on. Sorry,
based on the shot value.
Yeah, okay. So next match we're going to go on to is Liv Morgan versus Carmella. Really happy for Liv for this, to get it on a pay-per-view, get her some exposure. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this match. Do you know what I mean? It'll be really good to see I start getting some little bits and bobs. Do you know what I mean? And getting what she deserves in my eyes. Michael Cole made a very interesting point, Jimmy, on SmackDown when he turned around and went, the social media darling Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
So maybe actually WWE is starting to take notice of what's actually going on here. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. If they're keeping the belts on Becky, they need some people to face her, especially because there's no way Bianca and Becky stay on the same brand after Extreme Rules. One of them's whoever loses is getting shipped over to the other show. And if it's Becky that's staying, she's going to need some opponents, and Liv Morgan fits the bill. Everybody wants to see her take the next step. She's been right there at the doorstep for so long. I would have liked to have not seen her eat a pinfall on SmackDown right before.
See, I didn't mind it. I thought it set the story a little bit more with Carmella, because it was Carmella who cost her. So
yeah, if Carmella had been more involved with it instead of just being attacked, I'm with it. But I feel like she was just a distraction. Liv initiated that whole confrontation right there, and that's what cost her the match. If anything, that makes her look like she's not ready to take the next step. She's too green still. So I would have liked to see Carmella play a different role in that loss if we're going to do that loss. But to have her, I would say this is probably her biggest match to date with Carmella Extreme Rules. And going in hot would have been the better idea in my book.
Yeah. Okay, well, I thought, I read on social media, obviously we know social media isn't always right, and I haven't had time to check this out, but apparently this is Liv Morgan's only 3rd pay-per-view match, which absolutely shocks me, if that's the case. But it's well overdue. I think she'll do well on this. It could be where she beats Carmella and then gets drafted to Raw, because, obviously they could go down the same storyline as what Charlotte and Nikki AHS tried to do, but obviously it just didn't work and it didn't click. But obviously, Liv's got the fans behind her, Zane, and it'd be good to kind of have Charlotte as this. The fans don't like Charlotte and they love Liv. It's a perfect storm, do you not think?
Yeah, I feel like Liv was one of the favorites to win the Money in the Bank. I should bring light upon that in July. And I feel like she should have. I didn't have a problem with Nikki Ash winning, but Liv winning the Money in the Bank could have done wonders, and giving her a win over Carmella could put her to the next step where she can challenge for the title if she needs.
Yeah. Okay. And so obviously with this match, Harold, I feel like it is a bit of a filler match, but it means so much more in terms of how she could end up going on from this. What's your thoughts on that?
I'd like to see Liv Morgan take it. Carmella has been doing a great job with her most beautiful woman in the world gimmick. It does look good on her. I would like to see Liv Morgan do more.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been stated, like she's been at that doorstep for a long time now. Mm-hmm. Why don't you let her open the door?
Okay, so we'll vote on this one then. So, Harold, let's start with you. Are you there, mate? Do you think Liv or Carmella?
Liv Morgan.
Hey, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think Liv Morgan wins this one. She gets one more feud under her belt before she goes after that title, and Yeah, I think this is the beginning to her rise to the top.
Raw or SmackDown title?
I'm gonna go SmackDown. I think that's where her story's been. That's where you got to keep it going with.
Same.
Liv Morgan.
Okay. Brilliant. All right, so we'll move on to the next match on this one. We're going to go for the Usos versus the Street Profits tag team title match, SmackDown tag team titles to be exact. Feel like this match is, it was a long time coming. I love the Street Profits because, and to be honest, I love this match in general because of the fact that it's very tag team based in. The Usos have got their own tag team kind of, their identity. The Street Profits have got an identity. Perfect tag team match. Tag teams how it should be. What's your thoughts on this, Shane?
Yeah, I really want to see the Usos go head-to-head against Street Profit on as big a stage as Extreme Rules. I really would have liked it if they added a stipulation based on the event and made it a tables match. But well, we can't get what we always can't get what we wish for.
Why a tables match?
I feel like, I don't know. I just like seeing people go through tables. But
I think they might have planted the seeds for you a little bit on SmackDown with that, though. They could turn it into a tables match.
I hope so. And also, like, I don't understand. Didn't Finn Balor and Big E win the championship contenders match? So shouldn't they be in contention for the tag team titles? So yeah, where does that rule go? But anyways, yeah, I'm all for this match. Just add a stipulation, please. A tables match, preferably.
Yeah. I thought it was very clever. One thing I'm a big advocate of is factions. I feel like factions have got a real big place in wrestling, especially at the upper echelons of the cards where you're trying to keep the main eventers away from each other while furthering the story. Now, this match was interesting because of the fact that Montel Ford faced Roman Reigns on SmackDown, which was really interesting. But because of this match, it had that feel, it had its place because of it, and it felt, it continues with the story and stuff like that. Did you feel like that match actually makes this a bit more prestigious match, Jimmy?
Absolutely. I when they announced the match, I was so excited. I think Montez Ford does not get nearly the recognition he deserves because the dude is phenomenal. I think this match itself is going to steal the show. I think, like you were saying, the Usos have their own kind of style with tag team. The Street Profits, they have their own style, and I think the styles just mesh perfectly. And I really think this match is going to just completely just overshadow everything else on the card.
Yeah, and I feel like I say it. Oh yeah, and I always say it, and I'll say it again. I think I say it on every one of these reviews. The Usos do not have a bad match, so it'd be interesting.
It's always an entertaining match.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on this match, Harold?
I'm looking forward to it. I agree with it. It could be the match of the night. It could steal the show. I also think that Street Profits are due for another run. They are great. Like Montel, even Angelo Dawkins. I think they both, if they stop the tag team, I think they both would have enough oomph behind them that they could also both of them do a solo career on the side.
Yeah. Okay. So let's vote on this one then. So I'm going to start us off on this one. I'm going to go with the Usos. Feel like the belts are important for the whole bloodline story at the moment, and I don't see that changing. But then on the flip side of it, it could if they do lose the titles, it could change because you could have kind of in the lead up to Crown Jewel and whatnot after that, you could have Roman blasting them for losing the belts or whatever. You don't know. So, but I'm going to stick with the Usos anyway. Jimmy?
I'm going to go with the Usos for the simple fact they teased the Academy on SmackDown on their way to the ring the other night. Also, something I hope they're not doing, but this is kind of what WWE does sometimes. They see someone in a tag team, they're like, "Why, that guy kind of has a lot of potential. Let me see what he can do." So they put Montez Ford in the ring with Roman Reigns. He delivered. Obviously, everyone was very happy with what they saw. It's very WWE to break that tag team up now and try and push Montez Ford instead of letting that tag team kind of run their course, which they have a lot of life left in them. So I can see that Usos clearly winning, and it would not surprise me if they broke up the Street Profits in the draft afterwards.
Okay, Harold, what's your prediction on this one?
I agree with Jimmy. He had a lot of good points. I'm of the fact that I wouldn't be disappointed if either team won it.
Okay, but who do you think is going to win?
But I think I'd have to go with the Usos because right now it is important to their storyline of the bloodline.
Okay, Zane?
You know what, Andy? I'm going to give a little spoiler into my other prediction. I'm going to use the same logic you mentioned, that the bloodline keeping all the titles together. I feel like the Street Profits will win, and the Usos aren't going to be the only bloodline members to drop their titles. Just a little spoiler over my next prediction.
Interesting. I thought when you started going on to a spoiler there, I thought you were going to say Eddie Kingston.
I wish.
But I was thinking, I wonder where he's going to...
That's probably his next prediction.
Yeah, where's he going to get Eddie Kingston in this thing? Because we always have to get Eddie Kingston in every stream. Okay, so we all kind of think the Usos apart from Zayn. Always have to be awkward, Zayn, don't you? Okay, so we move on to the next match. Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss. I was thinking that Alexa Bliss was going to be done with this whole doll storyline and stuff like that after this match. Not too sure now. Not too sure whether you can put the title onto Bliss here, because apparently every time they put Lily dolls on sale anywhere, they sell out record time. And we all know WWE go, okay.
Yeah.
So we could see this happen here. Don't know whether we will. And also with the Dark Side of the Ring stuff, we could potentially see them taking Charlotte Flair out of the limelight for a little bit. You know what they're like as well, to bury the news and anything that comes along with it. So we could see that happen. Zane, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like when you mentioned the fact that Lily the doll has been sold out, well, that could mean only one thing: put the title on Lily, and that's the absolute right thing to do. And just put the Raw Women's title on Lily, put the SmackDown Women's title on Lily, put the WWE Championship on Lily, Universal Championship on Lily. Yeah, but give her all the titles. But in all seriousness, this could have been so much more. Like, I think I see the same thing with every feud that's happening in WWE right now. For most of the feuds, that they could have been so much more, yet they made it about a fucking doll. Yeah,
but that's all making them a lot of money.
That's for sure.
It'll make more when she's the champion.
Better than Chucky.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to go straight over to Jimmy here because he's nodding his head. So I'm very eager to hear what he's got to say on this.
Man, I think this has been the best built match on the card.
Oh wow!
I do. I think we've seen just very little physical interaction with them, which is always people's complaint with WWE, is with these feuds building up to the matches. They've already wrestled each other. They've already gotten their hands on each other way too many times. With Alexa and Charlotte, I think they've been smart with just keeping it very limited to just a little brawl at the end of a segment that doesn't last too long.
Not a contenders match in sight.
Exactly. There you go. Another thing people always bitch about. We didn't get that. Alexa Bliss hasn't lost a singles match in forever. So the match, her as a contender, made perfect sense. It's fresh. We haven't seen Charlotte and Alexa in a long time. And it's like he's pointed out, the Lily doll is selling. That's why Bray Wyatt got the title on him when he was the Fiend. He is making him money, and the Lily doll has sold out twice now. I would show off mine, but it's in the other room. But yeah, I think this match is gonna surprise a lot of people. I think.
And you feel like not just because of the Lily doll, but you feel like there's anything in the, obviously I mentioned it there, and it was just something that it's a working theory, but obviously with the stuff that's going on with Rick at the moment, you've removed the Woo from the WWE thing. He seems to be getting blackballed across the park. Do you feel like you want to explain to shit and say, we're going to take you out of the limelight for a little bit, give you a little bit of rest out the way?
I don't think so. I think she's pretty made, and it's not just because of the Flair name. I think she's earned her status because I mean she's the head and shoulders above everyone else as far as in-ring ability. And she's getting the reactions from the crowd. So I wouldn't see them punishing her for something Rick did. But I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility. There's a small chance they could just do that. But I hate that might be the narrative if Alexa Bliss was to win. It'll be, well, they put that title on her with her stupid gimmick because of Ric Flair. And it's like, that's completely unfair. It would be completely unfair because Alexa.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's she's selling, isn't she? She's
I just know
really
how other people are going to try and spin it.
Yeah.
I just, because that's what they do.
I think with the whole Halloween coming up as well, it'd be wrong to kind of keep it out the limelight, wouldn't it? You know, it makes sense to keep it in the limelight with Halloween coming up in less than 4 weeks' time. Or just over 4 weeks' time.
What better way to sell more Lily dolls than to have one with a championship around its waist?
Yeah.
And
hopefully.
Just to go, because she'd definitely just get one of them little mini belts and throw it around the doll, wouldn't she?
And the actual one as well. The actual one as well. Lily's going to get the actual belt as well.
Yeah, well, all you need to do is get one of the mini belts from www.shop.com and put that round there. Probably fitter. Yeah, that's sure. Look, sorry to jump up in the middle of a podcast, but
they were selling them at WrestleMania, man. They're perfect size for the doll.
I have an NXT one.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, get that round. Lily's out. Obviously, the women's one, but you know, makes sense. Harold. Obviously, with the Dark Side of the Ring episode with Ric Flair, how long before we see Charlotte Flair go to WWE's best thing and just be known as Charlotte?
Well, I know she has filed for copyright of her names and stuff, so including just Charlotte. So that wouldn't surprise me. But I have to also say that, you know, don't make it because of... don't let the sins of the father affect the sins of the son or daughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what WWE like in these things, they do like to kind of distance themselves. I'm not saying that Charlotte deserves any of this, not at all. But, you know, as we've seen in the past, WWE are very quick to wipe people away or keep things out the way when it affects the business, you know. But anyway, let's have a vote on this match. So who are we going to go with? Let's go to you first, Jimmy, this time.
I'm going to go with Alexa. I think I didn't even think about the whole Halloween thing, but you put the belt on her with Halloween coming up. It makes sense, spookiness. Yeah. And it's going to move more merchandise because you could sell those belts to put on a doll. You can make a whole new doll with the title. There's just so much money that can be made if Alexa becomes champion. And I think Alexa's overdue because as much as people hate the gimmick, it's not her fault because she is killing it with the material she's been given.
Oh, she's awesome. She's awesome. Zane, what's your thoughts?
Oh, Lily cashes in the Lily in the bank. Like somehow, like Lily just falls on top of Charlotte. There's some stupid spot, and the ref counts to 3 and she wins. Yeah, Lily is my pick.
Okay, Carol.
Yeah, to that little speech, I might have to go with Lily myself. But it does make sense with Halloween coming up. I'd have to say Alexa Bliss. A lot of money to me, babe.
Yeah, and I'm going to say Alexa Bliss because I totally agree with that. There's a lot of money to be made on that. Okie doke, so we're on to our main event of the evening. The Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus the Demon Finn Balor for an Extreme Rules match, believe it or not. You know, we know it's Extreme Rules, but for the WWE Universal title. Now, I feel like this is being really built up well. Obviously, Finn nearly got there, didn't he? John Cena snuck in and took his spot. And then they've built it up since then. Obviously, he got whipped as the normal Finn Balor on Friday Night SmackDown, which was cool. Now he's bringing out the Demon to try and take on Mr. Roman Reigns. What's your thoughts on this one? Zane, we'll start with you. Where do you feel like this is going to go?
Yeah. Last week, had you asked me, I actually went on record to say this, that there is no chance in hell Finn Balor is winning the title. But over the week, I gave it some thought. And just listen to it. I'm presenting another perspective to this title match. You have Finn. He's 40 years old, all right? he's not in his prime. He used to be in his prime, but he's still a pretty good wrestler. And you have Roman on the other side who's selling tickets, and he's the top of the chain guy. So why would Roman lose to Finn? Well, here's my point of view. Andy actually convinced me last week that Finn has a chance because you can put him on the card on the Saudi show, and he will have the Universal title. You have another attraction for the Saudi show. You already have Reigns versus Lesnar. That doesn't need the title. You can have Finn against whoever it is. And then again, you look at the roster. Who is going to take it off Roman? You don't have the guy right now to take it off Roman. And Finn is a very credible opponent to take the title of Roman Reigns. So yeah, I'm going to say Finn Balor wins this one.
Okay. Also, I think personally that I've thought about this, and this is a working theory that I've got, but something popped into my head today, and I haven't been able to get out of my head all day. Finn Balor being the demons and all this stuff wins the championship because one, Wyndham Rotunda's non-compete is on the way out, and it's their way of keeping the demon character over on the WWE. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
That's an interesting take. There's got to be a lot more to sell me on the fact that Roman's losing, though. I'm not against the idea of Finn winning it. I think Finn's fantastic, and I think he deserves another run since his first one just basically got robbed of him. And him being the demon character that gets people excited. The pop, if he was to get the pinfall on Roman, would be huge. They'd be behind him 100%. But unless there's some Brock Lesnar shenanigans involved with it, I just have a really hard time seeing Roman lose. It's just I feel like that loss has to be saved for someone that's the future, not the just now. And Finn Balor is just now.
But with Roman going into a feud with Brock Lesnar, obviously it's a very big match that, in my opinion, doesn't need the title to be there. I think the title hinders it because obviously you think to yourself, Brock's only scheduled to do X amount of matches a year, so nobody wants Brock to win. Roman being the heel, that's very dangerous for a heel, for them not to want a babyface to win a match. And then if he does win the title, it takes the title away off TV, which is not great. So by taking the title away from Roman at this point, it sets up this long feud with Lesnar that there's so many layers to that story that you don't really need the belt to explain it. And it keeps the belt rotating while they're having their feud, and also it makes the matches more interesting because there isn't a belt on the line that you think's going, where us smart wrestling fans think it's going to stop a Lesnar win. Lesnar could beat him here, and it could be Roman comes back on a rampage, beats everybody in the SmackDown, beats everybody as he's going along, trying to get back, gets his title back. Then he's like, right, I've got my title to use as bait. Lesnar reigns at WrestleMania next year. My opinion.
Man, I really hope we're not going towards another Lesnar Reigns WrestleMania match.
I wouldn't mind it, to be fair.
No, especially if they're wrestling at Crown Jewel. I think it'd be terrible.
I wouldn't mind it, but it's got to be done right, and that's where I feel like the title needs to be left out of it now.
How many main events have they had at WrestleMania together? 3 already?
2, I think. 31 and 34.
That's it? Are you sure? Well, I just feel like it's just been done so many times, and the match is never fresh. It's always the same thing. I think at Crown
just feel
Jewel,
with the whole
Lesnar,
and all like that.
I totally get what you're saying. The feud does not need a belt, and if anything, it does kind of let people know, okay, this is probably how that match is going to go. I just, I don't know. I don't like the idea of them building up towards another WrestleMania match. That's just me.
Well, maybe even Royal Rumble then.
That
go from Crown Jewels to Royal Rumble, and then,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we go from, because obviously it's an easy story for Reigns going into WrestleMania as a champion because he he can face the Royal Rumble winner, which is quite easy to do.
I'm still of the belief that we're getting Roman and Rock at WrestleMania. I think he started adding a little tease in there with the Rock Bottom, and I don't see Roman losing until after that match.
But they were saying that one's getting pushed back to the year after.
They've said that.
They want to do it in Hollywood.
I've heard that
because
rumor.
Rock's a Hollywood star. So
yeah, I've heard the
make
rumor.
more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, the other thing that could happen is we could see the Rock. We could see the same as with Cena at the double main event. You know, because let's face it, the Rock. Even when Rock went and done the Cena run, he was still making as much money as he was now. He come back to wrestling because he wanted to do that last extended run. We may get something along the same lines again. I don't think we see Rock versus Roman at this WrestleMania. I think like we see The Rock and somebody versus Roman and somebody at this WrestleMania.
Oh yeah,
and then the one after we see the singles match.
Yeah, one way or another, I think we're seeing The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania somehow, some way.
Yeah. But then if we see that at WrestleMania, does Roman then need to have a belt at WrestleMania?
He shouldn't, but again, I'm not going to try and understand the way WWE does things sometimes. I would not put it past them to have Roman have the belt and do a tag team match with The Rock and someone.
Yeah, because I've heard as well that it was filming schedules that's messed up The Rock being at next year's WrestleMania, which is why they pushed it to Hollywood, and also the film studios were more receptive to it being in Hollywood because of what it means for the studios.
Do we know who reported that? Because if I remember correctly, I'm not believing it for a second.
same.
Sorry. Yeah, no. Rock Reigns is happening.
And the one that and the people that were reporting it for the first time round for this year's WrestleMania was Ringside News.
Oh.
Yeah, no. That's just as bad. So no.
I don't think we're any closer to anything. The only thing I can guarantee you is The Rock will be appearing at Survivor Series because it's his anniversary, so it's going to happen.
I have an idea.
Go on, Zane.
I had an idea what Roman was going to do at WrestleMania. Well, this is going to be like the best main event ever because he's going to issue an open challenge. All right. Roman Reigns.
Cut his mic now. Cut his mic.
Roman Reigns issues an open challenge, right? Lights go out. This is the main event of WrestleMania 38. Lights go out. Cold World hits. Eddie Kingston slides into the ring, rolls up Roman Reigns. 1, 2, 3. Eddie Kingston is your new Universal Champion, and he's standing tall at WrestleMania at the end of WrestleMania 38. Yep.
Oh, bring back the Undertaker.
Eddie Kingston will never even be a GCW champion, mate.
You mark my words, you'll see him holding the WWE title one day.
Yeah, when he buys one from WWEshop.com, man.
I think. Well, let's go back to it. As Jimmy always says, Zane, adults are talking here. So, Jimmy, Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor. Who are we going for?
I'm going Roman. I think the match is going to be great because Roman has not missed yet. The story is going to be great for this match. Finn's going to make some people believe, but Roman's going to choke him out in the end.
Harold.
Well, considering Finn Balor was the demon the first time he won the Universal Champion, I got to go with Finn Balor.
Okay, Zane?
Yeah, Finn Balor.
Okay, I'm going to go with Finn Balor. Okay, so one thing that we are going to just cover very, very quickly before we thingy. Obviously, Jimmy's the jerk here. He's the only one going for Roman, and he'll be the one that's right. Possibility of a Big E Lashley match being added at last minute. Do we think that's possible, Jimmy?
Yes.
I absolutely do. I'm looking at the card, 6 matches for a 3-hour show, and you still have a pre-show. That's not going to fill up all that time unless they plan on doing some 45-minute bangers. So yeah, I see this being added at 100%. Should be too.
Do you not think that they're trying to add big matches into this? They'll probably be trying to do longer wrestling matches in a bit of a fire shot back at the Omega Bryan Daniels somewhere.
Looking at these matches, I think only one of them is suited for that, and that's the tag team match. Let me see if I think the rest of them, maybe Roman and Finn could go over 15, but none of the other ones should go over 15.
Yeah, no, maybe Charlotte and Alexa could though, because they're both good.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
With a story, maybe, but
Yeah.
I don't think Alexa physically can keep up with Charlotte for that long.
Or maybe the triple threat match is a good one, Damien, Jeff, and Sheamus, because you can have them in and out and whatnot. There's potential if it's a
they could extend that.
But yeah, we could see that match. Do you see that match happening, Zane?
Yep. They need to add a match, and they need to add a tables match ASAP. It's just like add a tables match. Someone needs to go through a table on this show.
Save the tables.
Okay, back in the naughty corner. Let the adults speak again. Okay, Jimmy. So I look at it and see there could be potential for a few twists and turns on this show. Do you not think we could see something totally out of the blue on this?
Absolutely. Like there has to be something coming for this show. I don't necessarily think it has to be something big, but there has to be some kind of filler for the show. Because again, 3.5 hours with six matches, I just don't think is enough based on what they're doing. It's not Eddie Kingston. Shut your mouth. That includes chat. If Eddie Kingston shows up on the show,
the Undertaker,
it's going to be to come in and the Undertaker will choke slam him. There you go. There's your Eddie Kingston moment. But I could if it's not Lashley and Big E, I could see RK Bro getting challenged by AJ and Omos again.
Yeah.
That could work.
I'm going to say on this one, we see The Undertaker. Don't think he's going to wrestle or anything, but I think we see The Undertaker. Reason being is obviously they've just got this new Netflix series with New Day that they've got to promote, so why not bring out The Undertaker? Let's see the entrance, let's see the roll of the eyes, everything else. And also, at some point, we'll see Shinsuke Nakamura and Boogs pop out of nowhere for no match, just an entrance, because McAfee must dance. No matter whatever happens on this fucking show, McAfee must fucking dance.
That entrance gets people excited too. It gets the crowd involved in the show, so it's always a good idea to do it. You don't think they'd save Undertaker for Survivor Series next month? Or
potentially, but then if you've got The Rock coming on Survivor Series, would you want to put that much all your eggs in that one basket? Why not use The Undertaker now and promote the show?
They did Brock and Becky.
Coming.
Yeah, but Brock and Becky were in retaliation for All Out and stuff like that, where I feel like The Rock on his own is the Undertaker to get lost in The Rock's return. I think.
I don't know. I don't know. If you have the Undertaker come out and do his thing first, and then The Rock closes the show, I think that. I don't think that takes away from Undertaker.
But if you're trying to promote a new series, so obviously with The Undertaker, it's always going to be that. And the mainstream media pick up The Undertaker returns and does a promo about the new "Can You Escape the Undertaker" or whatever else he's doing. But then you have The Rock come out, and next minute all your headlines change.
Yeah. Do you promote that show on a pay-per-view, or do you do that on free TV though?
I think you do it on both.
You can do it on Extreme Rules.
And don't forget as well, WWE isn't a pay-per-view, mate. Well, it is, but it's not.
It's on
a streaming service.
That's true. Yeah.
And the show that they're doing is on a streaming service, so people who buy. But say, Jimmy, where can we find you on social media, brother?
Jimmy Bebe on Twitter. Give me your pizza boy on Instagram. And I guess my Facebook, Jimmy Timberlake. I'm doing a story. Andy told you about it last week. It's we're getting into the nitty gritty of it. About to scare the shit out of
Harold, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at the WrestleBuddy Podcast, or you can find me on my personal Twitter at the RevCupid61. It's also my gamer tag on all systems on PS4.
Brilliant. And Zane, you?
You can find me in my room watching Eddie Kingston matches. And on Twitter,
Somebody take his internet away from him.
Yeah, I think he needs to be took away and smacked over the head with his router. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Please leave some comments about who you think are going to win the matches if you feel differently than what we're saying, or any comments you've got about what we were speaking about. We really like to interesting to hear what you've got to say on that. But until next time, WrestleBuddies, we will catch you again soon. Take care now. Bye.